Are you alright?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Before you break down the table.
I know, I just kicked the table, man. I'm mad.
How are you guys?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
What are your names? What's your name?
My name's Catherine.
And
Michael.
yeah, everybody knows. He's been here like 50 billion times.
Trust.
But yeah, so how's your day going so far?
It's been a bit long. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's just hot.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It's just really hot. How's your day been going?
Yeah, it's going awesome.
Okay.
Awesome sauce.
Oh my god. Okay.
Well, he said that.
Yep. Well, we're gonna do like icebreakers first, quick ones. So if you tell us 2 truths and a lie, and we have to guess what the truths and the lie is. So
I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry. Okay, I'm not gonna sneeze. 2 truths and a lie. You go first.
All right. I don't know. All right, 2 truths. I love where I live right now.
We have to guess.
You have to guess the 2 truths and the lie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was saying.
Oh, okay.
You interrupted me.
It
Man.
just looks like we were saying the truth.
You went 2 truths, and now I'm gonna name them.
Yeah.
No. You see, you lot was assuming things.
All right,
anyway,
cool.
get me.
Let's
anyway,
go.
so boom. You just messed up my mind now, because now I'm thinking what I was going to say is bait.
Do you want me to go first? So I did Alicia Dixon's makeup for a couple episodes of Britain's Got Talent. I auditioned for X Factor, and I am Nigerian.
You're not Nigerian.
You think that's a lie?
Because it took you a while to come up with that. That's the only reason why. Obviously, you're not allowed to answer because you probably know the answer to
I don't think he knows what the lie is, to be honest.
Oh. I feel like the lie is... That means the lie is not... I'm not Nigerian. Okay, so you didn't audition for X Factor then?
Okay.
Yep. That's... I go with that.
You think that's what the lie is? What do you think the lie is?
I agree. X Factor, you didn't do that.
Yep.
So you're both wrong.
Alicia Dixon.
Yeah, Alicia Dixon. I didn't do her makeup.
You said that super confident.
Literally, and I was like, yeah,
that's
like, of course.
That's a ready-made lie you've got.
I was like, 100%.
Have you used that lie
100%
before?
she did that makeup because I was like, I bought that.
No, so fun fact, like I've worked in like probably 50 million different jobs, and every single time on like the first day we have to do 2 truths and a lie. So
Really?
I have them like...
Oh
that's
my
not fair
God.
then.
Stored, bro.
That's not fair,
You're
man.
like,
Oh my God.
Listen, wait till we get into the conversation. We'll be stuttering, bruv. Don't be me, bruv.
But yeah, I auditioned in 2013 and I didn't get in and I stopped watching it.
Oh, do you act so you can
Salty.
sing clearly?
I passed the first audition and I didn't pass the second audition.
Oh well. Do you still do music at the moment? Do you still, so you just left it after that point? Wow. Don't let it die. Don't let the talent die. Okay, Mike, what about you?
All right. I've had 2 clothing lines in the past. I lived abroad for a long time. Oh, you know that one. You don't know that.
I was going to say,
I can't think of nothing that you lot don't know. Like,
Trust
I'm
me,
pretty
you can.
transparent. Like, I don't know. I can't think.
That's
of nothing.
fine. You don't have to.
I'm
do
just not good at this 2 truths.
Okay, why don't you give us like a fun fact about you then?
Yeah, that's a good one.
He's ain't fun.
I ain't fun. I'm
ain't
quite
fun.
boring, to be honest. I'm quite boring and I'm quite hot. Can we get into the topic, please? I'm not good at this.
How much can you deadlift?
God.
That's a
I
fun.
don't know.
You don't know how much you can deadlift?
I haven't done it in a long time.
Okay, I'll ask you another question, right? If you had a talk show, who would be your first 3 guests?
I'd want anyone I want. Yeah.
Yep, your first.
I'd want
3
Michael.
guests. Dead or alive?
Okay.
That's a good question.
I'd want Tupac Shakur. Yeah, he's one of my favorite rappers. Michael Jordan and Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
I think that would be sick.
I'd
Did
definitely
you
want
pick the
to
other
meet
2 because
Tupac.
they're called Mike?
No, it just so happened
Okay.
that there's a pattern. You know what I'm saying? But
What's the pattern?
You know the name, innit?
I thought you were going to say something like
No,
greatness.
I think it's
Great.
Mike.
Oh, you smashed it. I should have said that.
You have the
that would be
opportunity
sick
to.
if I said that. Greatness.
Are they Libras? Are they Libras?
I'm not sure. Can Google it after, innit?
Why?
How's the thing about like Michael's being Libras and then being famous, like a correlation between
Oh my
them?
god!
Apparently.
What's the birthday?
No idea. October.
October 20th.
Oh no, the Michael that I know isn't. He's February. But anyway, so
Am I looking mad sweaty right now? Am I flipping
You
cooking?
do look a bit sweaty.
we
I
could
need that
just take
paper.
a little break.
Do you want
Like,
tissue?
A few moments later.
but what do you guys think about colorism? Like in the black community, because obviously there's colorism in every race. But in the black community, like, what do you guys think about colorism?
All eyes on me.
Yeah, go on. Oh, it's me, you, what, which one?
Anyone that wants to go
Ah,
first.
what do I think of colorism? Yeah, I think it's a very real issue that black people face. When I was in America, I noticed it was more of an issue than over in the UK. Do you know what I mean? The idea of the closer to white you are, the better looking you are, just the better quality person you are. I found it was it was more prevalent over there, whereas here, it is here, but it's not as concentrated. Like, it's not as important over here in the UK.
Okay.
I think it might be as important in the UK, but on a more, I don't want to say like subconscious level, but that's because I think that British people in general are quite two-faced. Like, I'm sorry, like I know that sounds like quite offensive, but I think British culture is to smile in people's faces and then talk shit behind their back. Am I allowed to say?
Yeah, that's
Then they talk shit behind their back. So I think
out.
that even if people are colorist in this country, they're not people aren't overtly racist. But in America, people are very they're very bold.
They're
with
open.
they're very bold with their
confident
racism.
with
The times that I've been to America a couple of times. One time I went by myself. I went to New York in 2015 and ended up going on a date with this Nigerian guy. Obviously, I'm half Nigerian. Well, not obviously, but I'm half Nigerian. It's obvious to me in my head, I suppose.
Yeah, of course.
But I remember we went to like some comedy show in like Times Square, and we were walking through, and like guys were like, "Oh, congratulations, girl! You got yourself a black man." And I was like,
What?
I'm black.
People
I'm
actually
half black.
said that?
People say it like, and he was like, "Yeah, that's normal." Like the lens that Americans look at the world in is through race, and nothing else. It's weird. Like he was saying that how he had friends that were dating white girls, and their friends would openly be like, "Why is that white girl here?" Like they don't they don't care. Like they're just so.
The issue of race is a
very
big issue
yes.
in America.
But it's almost so. It's strange to me because I don't get why something that is so openly spoke about causes so much tension. You'd think there'd be more tension here where people aren't so.
You don't know what
forthcoming.
everyone thinks.
Yeah, than in America where everyone's like, "Oh, I hate niggas" or "I hate black people." Like, why is there so much tension if it's so open? Like, I find that quite strange. But yeah, I agree with you that.
It does depend on where you are in America as well as to like how serious the issue would be. Like if you're in the South, they've had the issues of the abolishment of slavery, and
and that's where you were, right?
Yeah, I was in the South, North Carolina, and a lot of the, let's say, white people there back in the day, they wanted to keep slavery going. So some of those ideas have kind of passed down generation. We're better than them, etc. And then there's that resentment from black people for a lot of those people that my great grandparents were slaves and they were treated like crap. And we are kind of in a position where institutions are against us. We have everything going in police, everything's against us. So that's why I think the tension is still high, even though it's in everyone's faces. And even with the death of George Floyd, it flared up. Do you know what I mean? I think it kind of dies down. It's still there simmering. But then when something happens, everyone remembers that we don't like them and they don't like us and blah, blah, blah.
I think as well with the topic of colorism, one thing that black people need to try and remember is the black experience. I think I'm not like a philosopher, but I feel like I'm a little bit of, my friend always makes fun of me. Oh, you're such a philosopher. But there's different black experiences. And I don't think that we pay as much attention to the fact that there are different black experiences.
Yeah, I believe that so much as well.
There's the black experience in Africa. There's a black experience in the UK.
Nobody ever says this.
No one ever says it.
And it really pisses me off because everybody thinks that whatever the movement is, support. Well, so the Black Lives Movement, for example, it doesn't represent every black person.
Yeah.
Like some black person won't identify with the movement, and people would think like that's bizarre, but it's the truth, like what you're saying, because everyone's experiences are just different.
Completely
Can
different.
I say one thing? When the George Floyd situation happened, and it was like black people across the world kind of joined, had the same kind of understanding of movement. It was a thing of like, you know, I feel that there was a black unity. Like everyone could feel it to a certain degree. Do you know what I mean? Like, because you're saying like there's some black people that may not, you know, identify with it. But I think as a collective, like, ethnic group on this planet, you can't help but relate when, you know, you see injustices to people that look just like you, because it could be you, it could be your family member.
But some people, go. I was just gonna say, some people just don't know the reality. They don't know what racism feels like.
Yeah.
Some black people don't. They've never seen a white person, or they've never been.
You're talking about like, say, in black countries where they never get
so
if we're bringing it back to colorism specifically, so if we look at African Americans, for example, they obviously have endured the trauma from slavery. That's not so much the story in Africa, but obviously the colorism is still prevalent in that community. So I think that it's important for us as black people to recognize, is the colorism rooted in slavery, or is it rooted in colonialism? Because both. The racism, so the racism that we face in the UK is predominantly colonial based, and also it's not slavery based.
Do you get what I mean? In the United States,
it's more slavery based. But because America lead everything, when George Floyd when he died, we're all outraged because America lead the plight for everything, and they lead the plight for colorism. But the reasons for colorism in America are not the same. Like the reasons in Africa, or the reasons in the Caribbean, or the reasons for. Because the fact that it happens in every culture, even in white culture, it happens.
Even in Asian culture, Asian people bleach because they want to be closer to white. I feel like,
and bleaching cream was made by white women for white women, which
a lot of
people don't know that. So like, bleaching cream was made to remove freckles from the face because the trend was to be white like the wall, or white like my top. So no one's white like this. Nobody's white, but for white people, that was a status of, you've got money.
Oh yeah, I think I watched there was this is it Queen Victoria's documentary where it shows you don't go out in the sun. They like, oh my god,
so imagine like how mad that would be for black people to think you're already you're already white. So what are you fighting for?
Let me ask this question, So because I always think that is kind of dangerous when you're a black person and you live in a predominantly white area. It's not healthy for you mentally, because like me personally, I grew up in South London. I grew up around just predominantly mostly black people. And then like even when I went abroad, I was still mostly around black people. Now that I'm back in the UK, I live in a very white environment. First of all, I felt like an alien there. Even though I'm back in the UK where I'm from, I felt like an alien and kind of out of place, awkward, you know, people looking at you, people judging you. So it begs me to ask the question, like, is it better for black people just to be amongst ourselves most of the time, like, you know, where we live and stuff like that? So then the issue of colorism is kind of diluted.
But that's not
because
colorism, though.
You're not really
we're combining racism and colorism.
Yeah, like I feel like, let's define like colorism properly, because with your question, like quickly just to answer, I feel like if I think sometimes you just can't help not being, like, you can't always choose, like, job opportunities, like, could be better schools, it could take you to a different community, or like,
it's just not healthy. As an individual, whatever race you are, it's not healthy for you to only be able to relate
to your
race. Like, without sounding too spiritual, I think the Bible just has a lot of like wise words in it. But Paul said, "Be all things to all men." Like, you can't.
Yeah, but I'm saying like,
that's
for instance,
true.
if you only make up in your environment, your own ethnic group is like 2%,
but even in that ethnic
you're gonna
group,
feel some type of way.
Okay,
and the people there are gonna feel some type of way to you.
Just make sure you stay connected with your own. Make sure that you don't lose like
your roots,
because
that's really
important.
The issues that So for African Americans, their roots and history
They
have
have no
literally been wiped
confidence.
from them.
There's
So
no confidence.
it's easy for things like colorism as a theme or as an issue to take to thrive so much because they've already been snatched away.
And to be honest, the people that like oppress them, they've even helped to. They are really the ones that installed it.
Yeah,
that mindset.
And then you have a lot
of
of assimilation that happens in America, like black people trying to bleach or weave. Like, well, and I'm not against weave. Just because I'm wearing braids does not mean I'm against weave. But they are forms of assimilation or trying to fit.
See,
in.
if I was to
Yes,
say
that's
that, I would be called sexist.
No,
it's the facts though. It's not about being
I don't
sexist.
think.
Like it's true though. Because I feel like in our generation, nobody wants to hear the truth anymore.
That's
Everybody
what I'm
just
saying.
wants everyone to say the exact same things. You're not allowed to have opinions anymore.
And I think
that's dangerous.
In the black community as well, it depends on how you look as well, because there's certain things that I don't feel comfortable saying, even if I feel like they're truthful, just because I know it's not going to be received well. Yeah. And to be honest, like it probably shouldn't be received well. Like I get that I'm mixed race, so my dad's white, my mum's Nigerian. I get that I get a lot of privilege looking the way I look. That doesn't negate that, but because I also love my people, I can't, like if I have a kid, for example, and I think that kid is like messing up, I'm going to correct that child. So I think that like in the black community, there are definitely things that we could do better when we approach things like colorism. And one of the basic things that we can do to help eradicate it is to understand that colorism happens in different cultures for different reasons. And it's not, and a lot of it isn't as sinister as we may think it is. And I'm not saying that it's not rooted in white people trying to be like superior or trying to impose beauty standards on the rest of the world. That's not what I'm saying. But there, for example, for colorism to happen in a white community, it's more related to status and having money, not necessarily being attractive. But the narrative of colorism, like it's just wild.
Yeah.
Do you think colorism affects black men and black women equally?
No, but I feel like just before we speak about that quickly, I wanted to ask how you feel. Like, what do you define yourself as? Because I know that it's a wild question to ask anyway. Like, I'll just say that I feel like I hate the fact that we have to be defined by the color of our skin or by our race, or you have to be defined. You're Nigerian, that's it. Like, you can't be two things at once, and like. People don't believe in the mixture of things. Like, this is just a mixture of things, and this is another thing. Like, I don't have to explain it. Everything has to be in one group. Like, so how do you feel
love to label
from two different cultures or two different races?
So we love to label people, and we love to put people in boxes. And sometimes you just can't. Like, if someone asks me where am I from, I instinctively say Nigerian. It's not because I'm trying to like beg. Oh, I'm not trying to beg being black or beg being something that I'm not. I'm aware that I'm mixed race. What do I identify? I definitely identify more with my Nigerian side than my British side. So I think that if there was ever a question of are mixed race people black, or what do you think you are, that should be more of a question rather than someone telling someone what they are. Because there are mixed race people that don't identify with...
There are white people that grew up in Nigeria.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all they know. Like,
there are Asian people that grew up in Britain and they say they're British. To me, that's mad. Like, you're not British. Like, you are technically, because obviously you've got a passport and stuff, but you're not British. Like, you're not British. Like, to me, you're not British. And I get why some black people would look at me and go, well, you're not black, you're mixed. And that's why I say that, like, it's important to acknowledge, yes, this is my genetic makeup, but how do I identify as a person? Because we've got people out here identifying as whole other genders that they were not born as.
And it's acceptable. But then you can't even...
But I can't identify as black when it's factually correct. Like,
how do you feel? So people genuinely come and approach you and say to you that, are you black, or do you, like, how do you feel? So that question? Like,
a lot of people ask me like, oh, are you Igbo? Like, when I say I'm Nigerian, they're like, oh, are you Igbo?
Because they're light skinned.
Because they're
most
typically
of the time.
light skinned.
Yeah, typically.
Which is also not necessarily true.
Yeah,
I don't think. Like,
it's not true. It's just like,
it's just
false.
You found a small trend in a small group of people, and you're like, oh, now all Igbo people are like, no, they're not. The majority of Igbo people I've met are dark skinned.
That's so true.
Because they're Nigerian. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
That's so true.
Are you Igbo? There we go then. There we go.
But like, that's a wild question to ask somebody anyway. Like, I've always thought, but I don't know. Like, I feel like you can't say that mixed race people are black or mixed race people are white. It's just,
They just are what they
You're
are.
just a mixture, and if
Allow
you
the person to
There's
tell
a lot of
them
people
what
that
they
do
think.
say that.
Yeah.
but then
Look,
she
I-
said
I-
she's
I've got their
Nigerian.
place.
That's the difference.
I say that all the time. I'll be like, look, mixed race people, they're not black, they're mixed, innit? Oh, mixed race people are black because it depends who the dad
the
is,
one drop
or
rule,
one drop rule,
yeah.
bro. Like,
What's one
it's
drop rule?
nonsense.
One drop rule is like
it
as
stems
soon as
from
you
America.
have like black in you, you're black, basically.
Oh,
But
okay.
It stemmed from slavery, innit?
Yeah, okay.
So
Definitely,
slave masters, you know,
Oh
doing
yeah,
their
because
thing.
that's
they
what
don't
they
want to take
did.
responsibility. So boom, oh yeah.
well, they
the
have.
kids-
So that's where that came from, because they had to take responsibility to an extent.
Yeah.
Because so when they came up with the rag test, if you're darker than this rag, stand on this side. If you're lighter than this rag, stand on this side. You don't look like
paper
Never
bag.
heard
That's
of
what it's
it.
like,
paper bag,
or
sorry, yeah.
something.
So a brown paper bag. If you're lighter than this brown paper bag, stand on this side. If you're darker, stand on this side. They weren't trying to. From research that I've done online, it's not, because a lot of people believe that light-skinned slaves were favored for being light-skinned,
Yep.
and I don't personally think that's true. Like, think of it, light skin has to come from black on some level. Like, I'm only the color I am because of a combination of black and white. So if you think of America, where slaves have been taken and then raped, produce children, it gets to a point that, and babies were taken away from their slave mothers, like taken away, given to whatever. So if you've got a bunch of like light-skinned kids that have sort of, because slavery went on for how many years?
Like 400
400
years.
years.
400 years. It's going to get to a point that there's just bare light skin, because you're like,
And that's how America is.
that's how America is
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
And so when they did the paper bag test, it was just basically to see who is likely to be our grandchildren. Let them come work in the house, because we kind of have to like look after our children.
Know about that.
I don't know.
No, but
about
that is a thing. It was like they had to try and determine who was likely to be their offspring.
More connected to my roots, basically. Like,
Yeah, or they're
Oh,
likely
I've
to
never
be
I
from
don't know
my.
about that. I just
This
think
this is not something I made up. Can I just say that that's something that I literally.
Wikipedia. But listen,
Philosopher.
listen, yeah. I think what happened was those men, they were slave masters. They had their way with the female slaves. When the babies came out, they was like, all right, cool. That's my son or that's my daughter. I'll let you come in the house. But
Yeah,
you're
but
still a
this is-
slave.
this is-
No, but you're saying, oh, which is likely
No,
to
because-
be my child.
Because
Like,
after a period of time, you lose track. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they
they
don't
just
know.
put them in
People were just
house.
raping.
You're just
like,
raping
doing
women
wild
left,
stuff.
right, and centre.
I know.
So you can't do DNA testing for all these light
yeah,
skin
yeah.
kids.
But what I'm
You're
saying-
just gonna assume.
But what I'm saying, they were still calling them black. So that's still detaching
That's
responsibility.
it. But we're saying the same thing.
Yeah, you guys
We're
are
literally
definitely
saying the same thing.
It sounded
You guys are
different.
saying the
No,
same
white
thing.
people
Sounded
white people would look at this scenario and say, look at those 3 black people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Black people would look at this scenario and say, look at those 2 black people and this mixed race person,
Yeah.
or this light skinned black
Yeah.
person. To white people, black is black. It doesn't matter what shade. So I don't believe personally in my head, slave masters had the opportunity all the time, or the mental capacity to be like, let's just favor these light skinned people for no reason, for absolutely no reason. It doesn't make sense. The my complexion or anything in between, from like you to me, is
Yeah,
created
that makes
from
a lot of sense,
sleeping
you
with
know?
black women. Like, I don't like. So everyone.
Some of them white women was sleeping with the men as well. You know.
Really?
Yeah, they was.
Were they?
Yeah, they was. Everyone's nodding in this room. You're the only one that
I know, I
doesn't
just-
believe
no,
the
I-
truth.
no.
Believe the truth.
It's not that I
lad.
don't believe you. I haven't like divulged into that area of like
Wikipedia is there, man.
I wanted to ask something as well. You know how, like, in terms of preference, like, I prefer a light-skinned girl or I prefer a dark-skinned.
Ooh, mad.
dark-skinned
Now
man.
she going
What do you
in.
guys think about that? Because I feel like, obviously, when it comes to the hierarchy, or let me just say, hierarchy of attract.
Are we talking about dating? Yeah, being
attractive
attractive.
in the black community, whatever. Like, I feel like dark-skinned women get treated differently. I'm
Yeah.
speaking from
Yeah,
my perspective,
100%.
obviously, because I don't know everybody's experience. Like, I feel like they think that they would basically put a black woman on the same level as a dark-skinned woman on the same level as a man. Like, they
If that.
see a lot of strength in being a dark-skinned woman. Like so they think like, oh no, she can handle this, or like she can go through all this pain, or like she can, like, do you know what I mean?
Hence why black women are like
what
in
do you
4
guys
times
think?
more likely to die in childbirth because
Like,
they're not listened to.
It's crazy. Like I didn't know that before, but obviously, like, I'm just saying that finding out that that's actually true actually makes sense. Like, why would you expect all these things from a dark-skinned woman just because she's dark? Like, how does that make sense?
Because they're seen as slaves. Like,
that's crazy.
That's the way I take it. Because if you're a woman, obviously you're the only one that can birth a child anyway. Like, if you think of the physical trauma that black women must have went through during slavery, like doing manual labor the same as men, being raped for kids, then have you seen this? Like, there's a video online of how a woman's body, like, and all her organs morph when she's like pregnant, or how things move around. It's actually insane. But like, yeah, that's probably why. Then they got beats on top of it. A lot of them got killed. A lot of, like, black women have never been, especially in America, they've never been given an opportunity to be sweet, docile, calm, treated like feminine women. Like,
the feminine is the key word.
Yeah,
like,
because what we were. No, it wasn't you. We was watching Umbrella Academy, and
I haven't watched it yet.
It's like some weird show about kids that were all born supernaturally or something. Then they were like taken to this academy, but they did like a Black Lives Matter episode, and I was watching, and I was like, all of these women look really presentable, like, and it just stuck with me, and I was like, all of their hair is nice. They're all wearing dresses. They've all got heels on. They've all got their bags, their jewelry. We don't see black women behaving like that today.
I talk about that kind of stuff all the time. The media is basically is deliberately set up that way. That's why they like to install these stereotypes. It's kind of changing now because like black people are more.
No. But what I was trying to say is like, cause so that was obviously at the beginning of like the civil rights movement or whatever, when black women were like this, and then obviously when black people got their rights. Post the civil rights movement, a lot of black people were thriving. Like, black business was thriving. Black people were like well behaved, and I don't like saying that because what is well behaved? But it's only now that you see words like ratchet, ghetto, that are all associated with black people. But that's because of the way that they've been treated. So if we look at prison systems, for example, they're in Finland, apparently they have the lowest reoffending rate, and that's because the way that they set up their prisons is like college. So inmates go to class, they have recess, they have such a structured, organized day. They don't fight, they don't have time for that because they're not being treated like criminals.
They're treated like
the
humans,
prison
like...
system is to rehabilitate you to be back in society. When you look at American prison systems, if you treat prisoners like prisoners, they're going to behave like prisoners. If you treat people like crap, they're going to behave like crap. So if you treat black women like men, they're going to behave like men over a long period of time. And that's why I feel
who's treating them like men? Who?
White people.
Yeah, society.
And we
even black men.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
Though.
First of all, yeah.
But of course, black men.
No, hold on. You said a lot still. Hold on, man. Yeah. The first thing you got to realize is that a lot of it is social engineering, right? It comes
we
from
accept
somewhere.
that, of course.
It comes from somewhere.
Yeah, I
so
accept that.
when I hear black women say, "Oh, black men do this," listen, most of the time it's not black men who are in control of these systems, bro. You know what I'm saying? Black men do not control the media. We don't control the narratives that you see on TV.
No, but then how many times
movies,
growing up will they call, like, the black men even, they never even found a dark-skinned woman. Like, bro, I've got the same colour skin as you and you don't find a dark-skinned woman attractive. Why?
There's plenty
If
of...
you've got-
No, hold on.
No, majority.
Majority of majority of black men do what?
Majority of black boys, maybe when they now grow up into men, maybe then they start to understand the beauty of a black woman.
I don't
like,
know.
Do you get
I
it?
completely agree with you. And I
like,
think
it was always like, oh my
reason why
god, a
you're-
light skin. That was the definition of beauty.
Exactly. And the only reason why you're rolling your eyes is because maybe of things that have changed on social media literally in the last 2 years.
People
No,
start
I'm not
to
saying that
embrace.
because of that. I'm
Or
saying
maybe because
black
you
men-
never had that mentality
black
or whatever.
Men, well,
but
yeah,
Black men have not been riding for black women
No,
for
I'm not
time.
saying that.
no.
Can I say what
Why
I'm
do black
saying?
women bleach? Like
I don't know, ask them. But anyway, look, all I know, me personally, yeah, I've messed with girls of different shades. I've never looked at, oh, she's dark skinned. Oh, no, I've never been like that.
But
innit?
that's you.
But what I'm saying, yeah, the colorism factor is there. I'm not denying that. Yeah, 100%. I said when we started this, you said dark skinned women face the most, problems and issues.
Just in terms
I agreed
of
with
hierarchy
you because it's
of
true. The hierarchy,
attractiveness.
yeah,
That's what I meant.
absolutely true. But I'm saying that for you to say the majority of black men, they only want lights, that's not true. Men in general,
That is
men in general go for attractive women, blood. That's it, bruv. So it don't matter. It don't matter if she's dark skinned, light skinned, whatever. Men want attractive women.
Okay, so
period.
can I ask you?
I'm just being real. I'm saying
saying
one thing. Yeah. A lot of times, yeah, when I go online and I listen to a lot of black women, complaining, a lot of them are not even nice looking, bruv.
Right.
So that's not nothing to do with you being dark skinned. That just means you're butters. That's what it is,
right.
bruv.
So, but if you look at American media, who the black representation of black beauty? They're all light skinned.
But that's America. We've already talked about that.
But we said they
exactly.
lead.
But that's not
if we bring it back to preference, preference
is.
specifically, can I ask you a question? Yeah.
Oh my god, you guys! Sorry, I need to watch a documentary called Skin.
I've watched that.
I haven't.
Yeah.
That's not in America.
If we look at preference, there's nothing wrong in itself with having a preference. One thing you actually need to realize, which I think a lot of people are stupid, they don't want to admit. People don't want to admit they're dumb. Most people are actually quite dumb, and most people are sheep. People follow.
Sheep is the key word.
They follow and they just do whatever. They see what people are doing and they just follow. You're susceptible.
Girls do that.
Guys do that as well.
Girl, everybody does it.
People are susceptible to advertising and subliminal messaging all the time.
Yeah, that's social engineering. Yeah.
Social engineering. So if you in your head you've never thought, oh, a dark skinned woman is not attractive. Let's say you've never had that thought in your forefront, but you've seen media for years that has portrayed that narrative.
Yeah.
You might say, oh yeah, I've got a preference for light-skinned women, and not even realize that you've been indoctrinated to a sense to have that preference. Not you, obviously you've explained that you don't have a preference.
Yeah, not every man.
I'm just saying that if a man is going to say my preference is light skin or my preference is someone that doesn't look like me,
like what 50 Cent said.
I don't know what he
He
said.
said something about you like some exotic women or something in some.
What is exotic?
What is exotic? Exotic to who?
He just said just not black, basically. Because he's grown up just dating black women.
You can't. I want the men that have a preference. Yeah, cool. Like I said, it's okay to have a preference. If you're gonna have an honest conversation with yourself, how much of your preference is genuinely your preference, and how much of it is you've been told that this should be your preference?
I would say that I have a preference. I would say that I would rather get married to a Nigerian man who has the same culture as me. Do you know what I mean? That's my preference.
Yeah,
a Nigerian man's gonna be probably a black man. Do you get it? It's fine as long as I'm able to justify the reasons
why
for my preference, rather than
I grew up in a predominantly white area when I was younger.
Sorry.
Thank you. I grew up in a predominantly white area. So for a long time, until I was maybe 14 or 15, I wasn't really exposed to black boys. And the black boys I was exposed to, I was afraid of. Because I was on some level.
That's another thing. Location, where you grow up as well.
Because on some level, I was told to believe that they are scary.
But that's like.
But then that's you being disconnected from your community, though.
Exactly.
But that's like some of the black boys you're complaining about. Even where I live now, there's black boys that I know 18, 19, 20, and they just mess around with non-black chicks. And that's my preference. But it's bro, you've been conditioned. You don't even know you've been conditioned
that's
to
what
be
she's
like
saying.
that. Yeah, no, I'm not arguing that. You think I'm always here to argue?
Emphasis.
I'm on your side, bro.
Yeah, so I think that preference is allowed, definitely allowed. But I think people need to be honest about where their preferences come from. And because it's kind of weird to me that, for example, in Nigeria, when I hear Nigerian men say I just want to like, why?
Your mum is
look
dark
around
skin.
you.
Your sister's dark skin.
All of you are dark skin.
I don't like when people use that as an excuse. That don't mean nothing.
Their reason for it. But the reason why I said it is because the reason that they're saying that they want a light skinned woman is because they think that woman is more beautiful.
No,
right? But that means that's why I said look at your mum and look at your sister. You will never not define your mum and your sister as being ugly. They're beautiful to
and
you.
And do black men not realize that I've had black men approach me and they say it straight off, I want light-skinned children. They say it off the bat.
That's mad.
Off the bat.
Do
I want light skin. I'm looking at him right, so I'm half black. you're black. Our children would be, what, 75% black?
Yeah.
And you're somehow hoping that they're going to be, what, my skin tone? At best, it's going to be in between us.
Yeah.
But that's not even the way the genetics work. DNA just pulls from anywhere.
Yeah,
I
true.
could have come out completely like white. I could have
Yeah.
come out completely fair. Like today I was speaking about, I have cousins that have children. So like my nieces, one of them is like your complexion and one of them is my complexion. Both parents are black. Like,
Oh my God,
where
yeah.
DNA just
That's
picks
some
from
Cosby show.
That's true.
it just, yeah, literally, it just picks from anywhere in like the lineage. It doesn't
That's
have
true.
to be like your direct parents. But yeah, I find it interesting when people say that they have preferences and they don't really, they just
No,
don't think
what's-
about it. Because when I had a preference for white boys, because I was around white boys, I was around black boys to an extent, but they were like, they looked a lot like you. I'm not gonna lie. So whenever I saw,
Basically, she would have found you scary.
yeah, like when I saw when I saw big black guys at the age of 40, I used to cross the road.
Oh
and
my God.
because I had experience
You was a mixed race white girl.
to an extent, but then also my experiences with black people growing up to that point weren't exactly positive. Like, so the times I'd gone to Nigeria, I was sort of like ogled at, like, oh, like people used to just stare. And like, this was the times that like I would go to Benue, like my mum's actual like town, like not the cities, like where there's more like different types of people or whatever. People used to stare at me. I used to get moved to by grown men. I'd be like, get aged
actual
11,
pervs,
10,
pedos.
but I looked quite like mature for my age.
That's disgusting.
It was just weird. I just didn't like it. So because of that, because of those experiences as a child, when I kind of like was able to date, black men were just, to me, like I was very put off by them. And because of things that I'd like seen in the media or just the portrayal of black men in general. But it was only when I was pulled out of that school, taken to private school, where I met like more sort of like affluent black men.
And apart from like, that's why I believe that private school. I want my children to go to private school because you meet all races and
Meet all races.
People think it's just white people.
International.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can choose what school. You have to look at the school as well.
My-
But
Do you think colorism affects dark-skinned men, dark-skinned black men?
it does.
I think it kind of favors
it
them.
favors it affects them positively.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
But kind of to be
Think
okay,
so?
no. I think in dating aspects, yeah, it kind of works for them because I think that a lot of even interracial couples, when they have boys, I don't think they care. Like when you hear there's like these families on YouTube, I can't remember their names exactly, but like they make reference like, oh, I hope she has my hair, or I hope she has my features because she's the light skinned one. But you're laying with a black man. Like you have to run the risk that there's a good chance
That's
that
a
your
bit
baby
dodgy.
is gonna look exactly like your man. Do you get what I mean?
Like, who cares?
Who cares anyway? Like it's so bizarre to me. But like, what was my point? Yeah, even with that whole like trying to like breed or trying to like
Selective breeding.
selective breeding.
Yes.
It's yeah.
I just wanted to say, like, people prefer dark-skinned black men because
Yeah, that
they
was the
think
topic,
that
sorry.
they're strong, secure, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you can protect me kind of thing. Like,
But in the working world or outside of dating specifically, I think colorism does affect anyone who's not light skinned pretty much.
Yeah. That's another...
If we even look at like sorry, I'm proper finding myself.
We've got, like, 2 minutes left.
Okay. Even if you look at like some of the things that we learn as children, we're always taught to associate darkness with being evil or black being bad.
Yeah, it's like
or-
that little
Yeah.
that video I saw on YouTube with the test when they had the little kids and they had the two dolls, the white doll and
Oh,
the black
yeah.
doll, and it was like which one's evil, which one's bad, which one, and
Do
it
you
was
know
all
what,
black, the black one, the black
Do you
one.
know
Like,
one
you know what I
reason
mean?
why I don't mess with that kind of study is because you're asking
You're
leading
even
questions.
encouraging
Yeah,
it, like-
that's not. I don't.
It's not really leading.
It is
He
leading.
He just put the two dolls there and he just asked the kids, "What do you think?" It's not.
No.
leading.
That's not. They don't ask what do you think. They ask which one is ugly or which one is stupid.
They might
or which
have
one is
never thought
intelligent.
about
They
that
may have never
before.
thought about that. But because you're making that child make a choice.
Yeah.
You're leading. That's what I mean by a leading question. So
Yep.
experiments like that, although I understand that those things shouldn't come out of a kid's mouth, they're not really a true reflection of what children might actually
And
think.
what I was going to say as well quickly is that this is exactly the scenario you just explained is our society now.
Yeah.
Like people are given like these choose from this or this. You have to be in one camp or
Yeah,
that's
or the
it.
other.
That's number one. And people don't go and find enough information to make like like obviously good decisions. They just say, oh my god, majority of people are saying that this one's the bad one and everyone's just agreeing. Like,
Exactly.
And so even in children, in adults, in everywhere, like we see that and that's really sad.
I've seen like people when I used to go to Nigeria a lot as a kid. I used to get like just guys sort of my age as well, like trying to talk to me. It wasn't always like older guys. But I remember there was a day that two of my family friends were like, "Oh, you're so fine, like you're so this da 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 da," and another mixed race girl came who was in our area, like at the time, obviously on holiday, like visiting with her family. Her mum probably married an expat, something like that. I knew this girl was not cute. I knew she wasn't good, but the way they were moving to her, I was like, wow. Like, I sometimes get like fearful that I will meet a black guy and they'll be so blinded by the fact that I'm light skinned. Then one day they'll look at me and be like, "Wow, you're not even that pretty."
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You're not even that fine, you
For
know?
real, there's lots of.
That's crazy.
Listen, fam. There's a lot of mixed race girls
That aren't
they're
cute.
just riding on the fact that they're mixed race. That's it.
That's
That's
it.
the only reason
Yeah.
they
Or
get
the fact
any,
they got soft hair, like
Yeah.
it doesn't make it
Or
doesn't.
your hair's curly.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't make you pretty. And like,
yeah.
like them girls
Or
is
loose
butters,
curls, sorry.
bruv.
But yeah, guys, conclusion. Like, what have you got to say to...
sorry,
There's a lot of butters, light skin.
you're
people.
ridiculous. That's what you want to round up.
Oh
with?
my God. Everybody
I
is
have to say
beautiful.
something because I didn't really talk in it, so I have to say something mad, didn't it?
sorry.
Yeah. Listen, some of you are alright, but some of you are just riding on the fact you got light skin, blood, you're still butters, bro. That's it, bro.
Thank you for that comment.
You're welcome.
What have you got to say?
I think that obviously this one discussion is not going to like be able to eradicate colorism, but I think like my point at the beginning is the main sort of takeaway message that I'd want people to take. Like, consider that colorism is different in different cultures or different aspects of within the black community. Just accept that there are different experiences of black people, and colorism is not the same in America as it is in the UK, as it is in Africa, and the reasons for it are not the same. And when we can kind of collectively come together to understand that, we can actually implement change. Like, we can is it because of advertising? Is it because of telling indoctrination over time? Like, when we wake up and actually understand that a lot of what we do as human beings, not even just colorism, a lot of what we do as human beings is just because we're told so. Nobody researches anything, like, which is mad.
Work my foot. Like, nobody's woke.
Yeah,
Not many
exactly.
people
Get
work.
knowledge.
Yeah.
That's my
What
takeaway.
was your final thought?
I just wanted to say that, like, let everyone just love yourselves, and that should help, like, because then you won't really need other people to, like, everyone's like, oh, affirm me or call me beautiful, then I'll feel beautiful. Like, it starts within you, and that's the same with colorism, with racism. Like, black people need to believe in themselves and love themselves and find themselves beautiful, and then we should, I don't know if it would help, but maybe it will be a start. So
Definitely.
yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Can I make one more comment and then
Yeah,
you
of
can like
course.
edit in another
Yeah,
point?
of course.
We were talking about this yesterday with Somalians, like, or Somali people in general. They don't give a
That's true.
They don't give a about what anybody thinks of them. And a part of me thinks, I only learned this because of a guy that I used to work with. Somaliland is not considered a country, but they are completely self-sufficient. And I think that pride of, we are self-sufficient, we take care of ourselves, we take care of our own. They defended their own country. This guy was telling me how, like, there was a time in Somaliland where people were walking around with AK-47s and machetes just on site ready. Like, you be in a cafe, everybody's got guns because they're ready to defend their country.
Oh my God.
But imagine countries like Ghana or Nigeria that have big armies, and you could... I get it. Like, I get...
Say nothing.
Say no, but like, yeah, with Somalians, for example, like, I think people can really like learn from them because they're so confident in who they are. They don't accept handouts, they don't accept charity, they literally do everything themselves. And I think that when they move or when they go abroad, it reflects in that, and they don't feel pressure to assimilate or to be like anyone else. They just stick with their own, and
And they're fine.
and they're fine.
That's a good point.
Thank you so much.
Well...